I actually never, because in those days there wasn't even a definition. You know, I think when the first time began to talk about understanding what it meant to not just work for money but to work for purpose, no definition in Danish society. Then later we began to call it human entrepreneurship. And then now it became social innovation, and now it's called social business. But to me, it's all different stages of the same evolution. And I think I made up my mind already in business school when I was 18 years old that I wouldn't just want to work for money. I wanted to be helpful in the world. And I didn't know the environmental problems were not so visible. I think they were there, but people didn't really know. And the generations before me were it was stiff and stagnated. And then I think the decision to actually create our little for more than profit company we made in the end of the 80s. We were, both me and my wife, in our early 40s, and we realized that, you know, we needed to create our own platform from which we could do the work that was emerging in us. We were both quite seasoned professionals, she as an architect, me as a conference organizer. But then we had to learn how do we make a living, learn something, and also contribute, which is why that juggling of the three balls of learning, earning, and contributing became real for us. This is a time where we need to realize that we are all citizens. This whole division that some are the public sector, some are the business, but if you boil down to the real private sector, which is each human being on the planet with your family, your loved ones, your little community, your village, your town, we all have a responsibility to be awake. And I think if it can start from there, then we will take that if we become a CEO or we become a head of school or we become a scientist or we become whatever, those different, the jackets of profession. But I feel that it's time for the fifth sector to arise, which is what I would call the conscious citizen, to be an awake citizen who take responsibility for our own lives and each other in a more deliberate way than we have done, just depending upon, you know, we elect somebody and then they have to provide us with everything, which is a very unconscious way of living. And it's just not good enough. I think the survival of the human species depends upon everybody taking more responsibility for their lives and how we live as a species. And it's a slow process. It's not a revolution. I think it's a revolution, but it's an evolutionary revolution. That it's already happening. It's not. I don't think it can stop. But you know, everybody comes to it in their own way, and it's not a political thing. It's not a religious thing. It's not a spiritual thing. It's just human beings wanting to live peacefully together and have well-being. I think this is a really lovely initiative, and thank you for whoever who made that first step and created this, and those of you who are now keeping it alive. I think it has several purposes I can see. One is it raises the consciousness of the value and the honor of creating social-oriented businesses, so that business can begin to take its full responsibility for being a business in a connected world, and not think they have the right to, you know, behave unconsciously. It brings people together, so you know, people come from all over the world. It's always good to get to know each other across our national boundaries, and then of course the competition. I would not have a chance to be part of it, but you know, there's always fun to create something and test it out with each other. So you know, I just appreciate the initiative and everybody who has helped make it happen. I wish more of this could happen, and eventually that this could become part of the norm, not just something special you do. Because I think if you ask the elders in any place, they would say, of course, business is social. You know, of course, you know, you do business in service of your community, creating jobs, doing good products that people are needing, but not this frenzy that has become business, and it's just it's like a cancer taking over, you know, the good lives of human beings. A little bit of caution, and I think business is a beautiful. It's part of the drive of human beings to create and make a living. You know, nothing wrong with it.